Thank you, Mr. Jacqueline Muga and your team. First of all, I want to thank you for being the voice of employers and for coming personally. You and Francis Atwoli have been the voices of the employers and the workers of this country. We expected him to come with his team of court. He did not. That's why we appreciate you leading this team, because one of the biggest issues before us is the cost of living. And we've had several presentations before us showing how much taxation has increased, prices have increased, but disposable incomes have decreased. And the quality of life for many Kenyans has worsened to the level that there are very many Kenyans who have gone to depression. We were given a very scary figure that between this year and the last 2 years, you are talking of 84% increment in terms of workers who are really, really depressed. So we wanted, apart from you saying that policies need to be reviewed, we're really looking at the taxes. And particularly what has had the highest impact is the increase of the VAT from 8% to, from 8 to 16% on fuel. That has seen the cost of fuel go very high. And when you look at that in terms of the taxes, the levies, you are looking at almost 16 of them. Would like you to, maybe in your further written submission, to give us specific suggestions, because we need to make recommendations as we're asking for those taxes to be reviewed, which ones should be probably dropped. And on electricity also, that has really gone up by 63%. Of course, that affects the cost of production, and we want you to also look at that and be specific. It will be very helpful for this committee to make very specific suggestions to lower the cost of living. Thank you.
As you hear in your further written submissions, so that don't take any more time, but you made some very scary statement here that perhaps need to clarify, that Kenya has become the worst performing stock market in the world. You may need to elaborate on that within 1 minute. When did this happen? Yeah.
We have the article which we can forward to the Secretariat. It was in the international news, and we can forward it. We're just as shocked about it as you are. But that is the case. And I think what we must ask ourselves is, how did we get there? And what impact, therefore, does it have on the functioning of the economy? This is...
Does that point to a possible collapse of the economy?
The Bloomberg report. There's a report.
Are you hearing me?
I think you can forward it together with your further written submissions,
Yes,
so that we consider. Because there's a Nigerian who was saying you can't manage the economy through propaganda. And one way of seeing is really the stock exchange and the dollar rate. Maybe that's a very worrying sign of the times.
I think Bloomberg is a very reputable report. I wanted to say, even as we send our further memorandum, one trend that we've seen in the recent past, Chair, is that taxes are being levied on consolidated pay, away from the tradition of basing statutory deductions on the employee's payroll on basic pay. Now, that alone has had major impacts on the take-home pay of employees, because you're taxing employees on allowances for transport, for DSA, and for leave. So it means that the employee has to dig from his pocket, or the employer has to top up, to be able to survive in Kitale or Kericho or wherever they go. I think that alone would have major impacts, because we need to focus statutory deductions on the basic pay, even as we look at the raft of taxes which we are going to address, as Honorable Wamalu has advised us.
Thank you.
Because that is what has actually thrown the level of taxation to unprecedented levels, and we're seeing employees taking home less than the 1/3 salary they're supposed to have.
Thank you,
What are they supposed
Madam
to
Mugo.
survive on?
We shall now excuse you.
And I sounded like a trade unionist, but I'm not, because even for enterprises it's very difficult.
I can see you are clearly agitated by the state of the economy and general decline of the living standards
because
of
any
your
pain the employee
employees.
feels is thrown on the enterprise. So
Yes.
we are bearing a lot of burden, which perhaps we need to be supported in. Thank you.
So in your view, the policies are not working
They're not working.
at all?
They want not at all, but the climate in which business is being done today is very difficult. And you cannot, as a country, throw 20 new taxes on businesses at the same time. We need to pace them out and have conversations with the stakeholders, employers, workers, and everybody else about how can we achieve the dream we have for universal care, for affordable housing, and all this.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm told Kenya Human Rights Commission is in the room.